We live in an era drowning in data. Every day, we are bombarded by analytics, spreadsheets, and endless bullet points. Yet, if you try to recall the last statistical report you read, your mind probably draws a blank. The brain instinctively deflects cold facts. Now, close your eyes for just a second. Try to remember a childhood bedtime tale, a movie that brought you to tears, or a friend's deeply personal struggle. You can see it vividly, can't you? This is the central paradox of human communication. A meticulously researched list of metrics often slides right off our consciousness, while a simple, well-told narrative takes root and stays with us for decades. Human memory does not function like a sterile filing cabinet for data. It is built to filter for emotional weight, making a narrative the primary vehicle for moving information into long-term storage. The reason for this is deeply biological. When we hear a compelling narrative, our brains engage in an automatic reflex called neural mirroring. Reading a dry list of instructions only activates your language centers, but when a story begins, sensory and emotional regions light up simultaneously. This synchronized activity tricks your body into experiencing the narrative as physical reality, which is why a plot twist gives you goosebumps. Storytelling functions as an evolutionary adaptation. It forces us to physically feel information, which creates a much deeper, more durable impression in our consciousness than facts alone. Long before the invention of written text, taking advantage of this biological reflex was a matter of life and death. In pre-literate societies, crucial knowledge about migrating predators or poisonous plants would die out if not encoded into a highly memorable format. Early humans didn't leave behind static warnings. They painted dynamic scenes. Looking at this Paleolithic cave art, we see active hunts and specific animal behaviors frozen in time, transforming basic survival data into an unforgettable visual sequence. As civilizations grew more complex, so did their rules and histories. To manage this overwhelming density of information, societies built complex oral traditions, weaving laws and lineage into massive cultural epics. We can see the evolution of this encoding in surviving manuscripts, like this page from the Mahabharata. The central illustration of figures in conflict anchors the incredibly dense Sanskrit text surrounding it, giving readers immediate visual characters to connect with. The same applies to foundational Western texts. This copy of Homer's Odyssey shows intricate Greek script surrounded by dense marginal notes. Countless scribes spent their lives meticulously copying these lines by hand because the core narrative was too vital to let slip away. Long before the printing press or the internet, storytelling was the foundational technology that allowed human knowledge to compound, ensuring early civilizations could survive across generations. Today, the stakes have shifted from physical survival to global influence. The leaders who successfully navigate this modern landscape are those who understand how to trigger this ancient neurological reflex. A dry recitation of political and economic grievances rarely moves millions. But when Martin Luther King Jr. painted a vivid, emotional picture of his dream for the future, he mobilized a nation. The sheer scale of the crowd gathered at the National Mall serves as hard visual proof of a narrative's power to unify. Decades earlier, national unity during the country's greatest crisis relied on similar framing. Abraham Lincoln didn't just issue wartime directives. He delivered speeches that carefully reframed the bloodiest conflict in American history as a shared story of rebirth. This exact strategy drives modern commerce. Think of the late Steve Jobs. He rarely launched a product by leading with raw technical specifications or processor speeds. He introduced a visionary narrative about challenging the status quo and unleashing human creativity, making the computer an essential character in that journey. Advertisers, politicians, and creators all operate on one undeniable rule of persuasion. Facts tell, but stories sell. Harnessing this persuasive power doesn't require complex trickery. It requires stripping a message down until it is simple, emotional, and highly relatable to your specific audience. The most reliable architectural blueprint for delivering those elements is the universal three-act structure. You start with a hook in the beginning, introduce a conflict in the middle, and provide a satisfying resolution at the end. In fact, we built this very video using that exact framework. We started with the biological problem of data overload, moved through the historical conflict of preserving knowledge, and arrived at this current resolution on how to apply the mechanics yourself. An effective story is almost never a spontaneous accident. It is a carefully engineered framework designed specifically to capture and hold human attention. You do not need to be a world leader or a tech CEO to use this tool. Your own daily experiences are already packed with the necessary tension, conflict, and resolution to build a compelling arc. So here is a challenge for you today. The next time a friend or colleague comes to you seeking advice, try withholding your analytical solutions. Instead, share a relevant personal story from your own life. Watch how differently they respond. You will find that sharing your authentic experience bridges the human gap in a way that lecturing and listing facts simply cannot. Stories shape our world because they shape us. Every time you share yours, you actively build connections, inspire others, and leave a lasting piece of yourself behind.